Attorney Nick, mabuhay ka.
Right, I'm just going to make one statement, okay? That's all. Okay? Answer a few questions. Okay, go ahead. Go on.
All right, so how did you assess the whole 4 days?
Well, I'm not going to pass judgment on the performance of the prosecution, the performance of the victim's representatives, or my own performance. That's for the judges to decide, and it's not a show. The judges will take their decision based on the evidence, and the evidence has been presented to them by the prosecution. The evidence has been challenged by us, the defense, and we trust the judges to take the right decision.
Attorney Nick, multiple times during online streaming, the statement, especially if it's the presentation of the defense, it has been cut off multiple times. Do you know the reason why they are doing this?
Well, I think Judge Motok made it clear that there are certain aspects of the court transcript that cannot be broadcast to the public because there are protective measures. There are what I've referred to as reductions throughout the hearing, and that's the reason why.
Attorney Nicholas Kaufman, on behalf of the Filipino community all over the world, we would like to extend our congratulations for a job well done.
Thank you very much.
Sir, I was so surprised that you didn't fight for the former president to be released.
That's because we have an appeal pending, an appeal on the first review of detention. And there's no point making new arguments when we're still waiting for a decision from a higher chamber on the first decision. It's purely legal, okay? It's not that I agree that my client should continue to be in detention. It's merely recognizing the futility of making an additional request for interim release at this point in time.
Were there new conditions set by the prosecution or reasons for the continued detention? Aside from flight risk, fear from the victims, was there a new reason cited?
No, these conditions are set out in the statute. That's the Rome Statute which governs this building here. And there are 3 conditions which govern interim release. The prosecution have to either show a risk of flight, a risk of intimidation of witnesses, or the risk of continued commission of crime. Now, we've argued throughout the process that because of his age and because of his condition and for various reasons, he's not able to engage any of those risk factors. The prosecution disagree, and the prosecution argue that his refusal to recognize the possibility of exercising jurisdiction over him signifies that if he were released, he would not present himself for trial. We disagree with that. But then once again, these are decisions that have to be taken by the appeals chamber and not by me here in the media.
Attorney Kaufman, some Filipino lawyers of the victims are describing your last-minute attempt to appeal to emotions as grasping at straws. How do you respond to that?
Come on. I'm representing a client who's been locked up for a year, who hasn't seen the public, so of course I'm going to address the public who want to see him. I made my position very clear. I felt that he should appear, but he's my client. He took his decision, and I respect that decision. And the decision that he took, as it turns out, was the right decision in all the circumstances. Yes, of course, my detractors are going to criticize me. The prosecution tried to strike me from the record, as you saw at the end, but that failed miserably. And I think that just signifies the extent to which they are irritated by the arguments which I made. And those arguments were professional. I litigated for the best part of a day and a half on the substance. I'm talking about the legal arguments. I'm talking about the evidence. We attacked every one of those counts which alleged that Mr. Duterte murdered 78 victims. We deny that completely. And we gave our reasons why, and they're on the record.
Attorney Kaufman, sorry, this is not the first time that you're facing the ICC. You have defended other clients before. How would you compare or how would you contrast the complexity of this particular case compared to the other cases that you've dealt with before?
Well, all the cases here are complex. The complexity arises out of what are called the modes of perpetration, the modes of liability, something which I talked about at length, especially the indirect co-perpetration theory, which is something which is applied here in practically every case. So with respect to complexity and with respect to quantity of evidence, this case doesn't differ from any other case. What does differ is the sheer love that the Filipino nation have for my client. And I've seen it on a daily basis when I go up to visit Mr. Duterte in his detention center, and I see the people waiting there every day, just hoping to feel something of that Duterte magic. It happens even when I travel abroad. For example, I can go to a foreign country, the United Arab Emirates. I land at the airport and there are Filipinos there and they recognize me straight away. And they come up to me, they want to hug me, and then they cry. They cry because by crying on my shoulder, they can feel that they're getting some form of closeness to the former president.
That's indeed true.
Okay? All right.
Attorney.
Thank you very much. Let's head for the back.
Just the closing statement
Yes.
on how
Yes.
you addressed or spoke with the president when you met him last Wednesday when the hearing was on a break. Was that really something that you had initially thought that was important to share during your closing argument?
Or was it necessary?
It was 100% necessary, and I shared it, and it irritated people because you see, people have brought him to this court, they've put him on trial. He asked all the time, if I've done something wrong, let me be tried in front of my own people, and they want to silence him once he's here by standing up and asking for it to be struck from the record. Okay, I didn't testify on his behalf. I just told them the difficulties that I'm facing and the reasons why he didn't want to present himself before the chamber, not out of disrespect, but because he raised a legitimate argument that he does not recognize the possibility of this court exercising its jurisdiction over him. And that was the very first thing he said when he was arrested back in the Philippines, having arrived from the Hong Kong.
I remember you said that you had a barong ready for him.
Yes, indeed, we
Because
did.
you didn't want him to wear that ill-fitted suit.
Correct.
And you wanted it erased or deleted from...
Well, yes, I think that that's humiliating, quite frankly, having that photograph there. It was taken in a situation where he had really been released from hospital a few days before, and he was tired, he was jet-lagged, he was suffering from the medication of the hospital, and then he was just told that he's being put in front of a television camera and taking part in an audience, a hearing. And of course, that suit's not his own. I mean, have you ever seen him wear a suit and tie like that? No. So I said, well, you know, the judges, they could reject your waiver and then you might be obliged to appear. And then you'll have a choice. Either you stay in your cell and refuse to come out, and then maybe they will force you out, but I doubt it. You're 80 years old. I can't see anyone forcing an 80-year-old man to come out of his prison cell to come to court. Or they could put you in front of the television camera. Or you can choose to come. And I told him, well, maybe you should think about coming. I'm going to give you the option. And if you do come, I want you to wear a barong. And so we had a barong specially fitted for him. My team went up there and we measured him. He was a bit reluctant, but he agreed. And but then he said to me, you know, Mr. Kaufman, no, I don't want it. And then he told me what I mentioned.
That was the final decision.
Yep. And the reasons were given to me there.
Attorney, have you already spoken to the family? Did they already give you a feedback as to what happened in the proceedings in the last
I
week?
just finished my submission. I've just come out of
Perhaps
court.
by
I've been with
Zoom
my
call
team. I haven't had an
yesterday.
opportunity. Come on.
Have you seen
All right. Yeah.
When will you update him?
I'll be calling him this evening.
Why do you always criticize the media in all of your presentations from day one to day two?
Why does the media always criticize my client? Full stop. End of story. Next question.
Sir,
So when you presented to the president last Wednesday, you haven't seen him since then?
Well, no, because I've been in court. It's a bit difficult.
Are you
Okay,
gonna
and I
see
had to
him-
work on my closing submissions last night.
Are you gonna see him now?
But I'm not going to see him now because I'm not allowed to, because it's past visiting time. Okay, but
Sir,
I
should
will
the
be speaking to
Sir,
him.
sorry, should the appeals chamber grant your appeal with regard to the change in the place of detention? What place do you have in mind aside from the
I
detention
can't
facility?
tell you that, I'm afraid, because that's confidential.
Okay.
When will your next visit to former President Duterte?
Well, I'm going to take a bit of a break now. I've been working very hard, as was the whole of my team. I think I deserve a break. So I'll be seeing him shortly. There are a couple of decisions which are due to be rendered, as you know. First of all, the appeals decision on jurisdiction, and also the appeals decision on his first review of detention.
Can his family
Filipino
visit him
lawyers,
already,
attorney.
since it's, the confirmation of charges is already finished?
Yes, it is, and the honourable judges have 60 days to take their decision.
How about the Filipino lawyers? Are they already applied for the ICC accreditation?
I haven't had an opportunity to speak to them. Okay, I just came out of court.
Attorney, was it the personal request or the family's request for the removal of the picture of the former president, the one in blue suit?
That was my request.
Your
Yes.
request, but not necessarily. It did not
Well,
come
I
from the
haven't
family.
consulted them on dress requirements. Okay, that's my request. I've always said that photograph which exists on the ICC website is not the type of photograph that I would want for the world to see. It's as simple as that.
Thank you,
Is
Attorney
there an
Trump.
expected ruling on that, attorney? On that request?
No, I doubt it. Okay, I've made my objection known. It's not an official legal request. It's a polite request and an understandable request from a humanitarian point of view. Yeah.
Thank you, Attorney.
Thank you, Attorney.
All right, guys.
Thank you. Congratulations, Attorney Nick. Mabuhay ka, Duterte.